The project that I'm going to be working on today was inspired by a video that I watched on here on YouTube that the Pixie Dust housewife did, and I will link that video below. She did something very similar to what I am doing, and that's what inspired me to do this, but I figured I could make my own video because what I'm going to be doing is not exactly what she did, and I thought I would share it with you. And just about everything that you will need for this project I got at the Dollar Tree. Not absolutely everything, but just about. So let me go over what you're going to need. This basket, honestly, I don't even remember where I got this basket. I've had it and I was using it for another purpose, and what I was using it for didn't really work, and so I'm going to use this as the base for my spring centerpiece that I'm going to be making. And this centerpiece can also go into the summer, so I'm not sure how long I will use it on my table, but it depends on how cute it turns out apparently. So that I did not get at the Dollar Tree. I just had this around the house. You will need one of these placemats. I did get this at the Dollar Tree. You will need some of this foam, floral foam stuff. I got one of the brick and then two of the round. And somehow these got squished. I asked my kids about it, but they denied squishing it. But it doesn't matter because you're going to be cutting them up into pieces anyway. Then you will need assorted florals. I got all of this at the Dollar Tree, and I won't use all of it, but you're going to want a lot of variety to choose from. You're going to need some of this moss. I got this also at the Dollar Tree. You're going to need some of the birds. So I got two different birds here, and some butterflies. And I won't use all of these, but I wanted a variety to choose from. And then I'm not sure if I'm going to use this or not, but this was a little topiary thing I got on clearance from Joann Fabrics. You're also going to need some scrap cardboard. So these are just some boxes, a shoe box and another box that I'm going to be cutting up and using. I'm also going to be using this little ceramic bunny, but I won't be using this paint that came with it. Instead, Scott is going to do this for me. I could do it, he's going to do it for me. I'm going to have him spray paint it gold with this spray paint that I got at Walmart. And then for tools, you will need some wire cutters, a pencil, a pair of heavy utility scissors, a hot glue gun and some glue sticks, a serrated knife for cutting the foam, and then I've got this small plastic cutting board to protect my surface. If you're cutting on a surface that you don't care if it gets, or if that's cut resistant, you won't need the cutting board, but I'm going to need it because I'm doing this project on my dining room table. So that is all of the supplies that you will need for this project. The first thing you're going to need to do is take whatever container you're going to be using to build your centerpiece in, and find a piece of cardboard that's big enough that you can trace around the base of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Take my pencil and then just trace around the base of my basket. So there I've got a circle traced on the cardboard. So I'm going to go ahead and take my scissors and just cut this circle out, and when I have the circle cut out, I'll be back. Circle cut out, you're going to want to fit it down inside the basket and make sure that it will fit all the way down. Now this is going to need to be trimmed a little bit, and this cardboard's bent on the edges here, which doesn't really matter. This is just basically something to start gluing your, what should I call it? your scene. I'm going to be making a scene, a spring scene. It's to glue to this cardboard so that you don't have to glue anything permanent to this basket if you don't want to. There may come a time when I want to do something different with this basket, and so I don't want to make anything permanently glued to the basket. So there you see I've got the cardboard circle fit perfectly in that basket. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this out for now and set the basket aside. So then out of the shoebox, I cut this little kind of like a ledge thing. I don't know what else to call it, but it's just to kind of build up the height of my centerpiece. And all of this is going to be covered with this moss. So once you build your landscape, you're going to be covering it all with moss. So even though it doesn't really look like a whole lot yet, don't worry, it will. And the whole idea of this is I'm going to be making like a hill with a little rabbit hole in it for that little rabbit that my husband spray painted gold. And it'll be his little home. So we've got this so far, and it might wind up being too high, and if I think it's too high, then I can just cut more off the end. So onto that, I'm going to use this foam to build the actual rabbit house, and I'm going to be using my serrated knife to cut this and kind of carve it into the shape that I want. So when I have that done, I'll be back. So right now it almost looks like a little adobe house, but remember we're going to be covering this with moss. So this is the little rabbit hole, and this is kind of like the little rolling hill that the rabbit will be, his house will be in. So on the front of this, I want to make some more little rounded homes, or hills I should say, for the rabbit. And so that's where these come in. And like I said, they somehow got smushed, and I'm not sure how that happened. I was pretty sure I didn't smush them in the store, but it doesn't matter. What you need to do then is just to take these and cut them in half. You can't really see. Let me do that over here where you can see better. You just cut them in half, and this stuff cuts so easy. And then you cut it in half again. And then we'll just hot glue these little pieces along the front like that. And I'm going to go ahead and carve those up a little bit, shape them up a little bit so that they fit better. This actually needs to go this way because they're too tall. So I'll go ahead and start shaping those, and when I have everything the way I want it, I will go ahead and hot glue these onto the cardboard. So I went ahead and put some newspaper down to protect my work surface, because when I put this moss on, it's going to be very messy. So I've got this pretty much how I want it, and now I need to hot glue it on there. I'm going to go ahead and hot glue this base to the cardboard, and it's not centered. I have it kind of more to the back, because remember, we have to make room for these little rolling hills in the front. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bunch of glue on the bottom of this and glue that to the cardboard. Center it on there. Give it a little press. And then I'm going to just take these and I'm going to glue them all the way across the front. And it really doesn't take that much glue to hold this stuff in place. Now the last little thing I'm going to do before I start covering this with moss is I'm going to kind of flatten out these little hills right in front of the rabbit hole, because that's where I'm going to set the little rabbit. I'm going to be sitting right outside of his house. There it is. It's all ready to go to start putting the moss on. So that is the next step. So the way that you put the moss on here is, excuse me, oh, this foamy stuff got me sneezing, is you just take a little bit of your hot glue and you just start I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. You just put a little bit of glue on, and you want to work in small sections at a time. And then take a little bit of this moss, and you don't want it really, really thick. You just kind of want it a thick enough layer to cover the foam, so you can't see the foam under it. And you just work your way down and around, adding the foam and being careful not to burn yourself on the hot glue. Alright, so here it is so far. It just kind of looks like a green mound. I'm going to kind of give it a little bit of a haircut with my scissors and kind of just continue shaping it. And no, I have not forgotten about the back. We will get on to that in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and continue shaping this a little bit. And as you can see, there's the little rabbit hole right there. So that's looking pretty good, kind of how I want it so far. And believe me, it looks kind of goofy right now, but when I'm all done with it, it's going to look really cute. Now I've discovered that this little topiary thing looks really cute sitting right there. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that on to the cardboard. And you just kind of have to hold it for a bit. So now comes the really fun part when you get to decorate this scene with the flowers. And what I'm going to do to the back of this is I'm going to take this other round of styrofoam and I'm going to cut it also into fourths like I did for the front, or maybe just in half. I don't really necessarily need to cut it in fourths. And I'm going to glue this to the back. I'm going to glue that to the back so that I have something to stick the flower stems into. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this, and I'm going to have to do a little bit of carving on it because it's bigger than the cardboard round. So once I get those glued on there, and when I have it all completely decorated with all of my flowers how I want it, I'm going to go back in with my moss and fill in any spaces where you can see any of this foam or pieces of the cardboard or any of that kind of stuff, because you don't want to see any of that. My centerpiece is going to be obviously in the center of my table, and so you'll be able to see it from all sides. So this is glue. This glue is dry, so I'm just going to go ahead and take my knife and start whittling it off and shaping it around. And like I said, this doesn't really matter, you know, if it's what it looks like, because it's all going to be covered up with pretty things. So the next step is deciding on which flowers you want to use. Now, like I said, I have a ton of different flowers here that I've used in other projects, and I think this is the perfect time to use some of these cattails. I've had these for a while, and I haven't known, they haven't really fit into anything that I've been doing, but I think that will fit perfectly in this arrangement. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start sticking them into the foam in the back, and even though I can stick stuff in the sides of the actual house itself, because it's also made out of foam. And the nice thing about this foam also is the fact that you can pull it out and rearrange it however you want if you don't like how it turned out. Okay, so I've got those in there, and like I said, that's probably not how they'll wind up being, but I'm just putting them in there to start with, to give me kind of a place to start. And I'm going to get some of these other flowers. I know some of these flowers I'm not going to be using for this project, like these blue ones. Oh, I got another cattail. Of course, like I've done with all of my other projects, I'm going to take the individual flowers and I'm going to cut them off of the main stem with my wire cutters. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start, I'm going to get all the flowers cut off the stems, and I'm going to start arranging these how I want them. And when I have it the way I want it, I'll be back and I'll show you what it looks like. It's really not something that you have to see me doing, because it's basically just putting things in how you like them and fiddling with it and rearranging it, and just keep moving stuff around till you have it how you want it. So here it is so far. I'm liking the way it's looking, but I still have quite a bit more to do on it. But I wanted to kind of show you what I've got so far. Now, another thing I did is I took the, let's see if I can find one of these stems that was left from cutting all of the flowers off. I took one of those and I left one of the branches longer and bent it down, and then I put hot glue on it and I rolled it in the moss. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this little bird. It's got a clip on it. Maybe I'll try clipping it. So I just clipped the little bird on there, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this down into the roof of this so there's a little bird in amongst the flowers. Yeah, that turned out really cute. Adorable. Now I've got another bird that I want to put in here somewhere. So I'm going to, it's this one here. Let me take it out of the packaging for you. This cute little bird. So I'm going to do the same thing with another one of these stems, and I'll put it, I may not even have to put him up on a perch. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them. But when I get that figured out, I'll show you what I do with him. So now that I've got the front looking pretty good, not done yet, but pretty good, I'm going to go ahead and concentrate my efforts on the back here, because I want it to look nice as well. So I'm going to go ahead and try and think about what I'm going to do back here, and then when I get it figured out, I'll be back and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So basically what I did was I just went ahead and filled in the back with the extra flowers that corresponded with the flowers that I used in the front. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and cover this with the moss just like I did in the front. So when I get this all covered so that you can't tell and can't see any of this, I'll be back. So here's the back, completely filled in. Now the only thing left that still, you can still see any cardboard, is a little bit along the edge here and in the front. So I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit more moss here, and then just a little bit on the front here. So when you're doing yours, if you decide to do this, you can just let your imagination go. You don't have to even do our little rabbit house. You can do anything you want to. I'm not sure what these little scenes are called. Little, not topiaries, I don't remember what they're called. But dioramas, I guess. It's kind of like a diorama. But you can do whatever you want. You could do any kind of a outdoor scene. You could take a scene from your own property and refigure it. You can do a barnyard scene. You could do, they sell these little ceramic fairies at Walmart. So you could spend the money on those and make a little fairy village, or however you want and whatever you want. You're just limited by your imagination. Now there are a couple of other touches that I want to add to this. I have these beautiful little butterflies, And so I'm going to put those on here. So this butterfly here, I just took the wire that it was attached to. You can't really see it. It's right there. And I just stuck it down into the top of the cattail. Right along there, it fit in. And then this one here, I just took the wire and wrapped it around the stem of this flower here. For this butterfly, what I did is I took one of the stems from the flowers, cut it a real long one, took the flower off the top, and so I turned this butterfly kind of into a pick, and I'm going to just go ahead and stick it right down in here into the foam. I found that was the easiest way to deal with these butterflies. So this is how I did it. I've got the stick and the butterfly, and I'm just going to put the butterfly up high on the stick, and then take the wire that's attached to the butterfly and just twist it around and around and around the stem. So there, now it's on a pick and I can stick it down in there easily. Alright, so I've got it completely done. I've got all the butterflies on there, and I've got two little birds, and I did go ahead and take the clip off of these birds and then hot glued them on the little post that I made, because I just didn't, you could see the clip and I just didn't like the way it was working. So the very last touch before I finish assembling it in the basket is this is the little rabbit that I showed you, and Scott spray painted it gold for me, and it's been sitting for a couple of hours curing, and I'm just going to go ahead and hot glue him right there by the opening of his little rabbit hole. So I'm going to go ahead and get some hot glue on there. You want to be generous because it is made out of a ceramic type material and you don't want it falling off of there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let this completely dry. I mean, hot glue dries very quickly. I'm going to clean up my mess, and I'm going to go ahead and get the centerpiece put in the middle of my table so that you can see what it will look like on my table. So there it is, all finished. What I ended up doing is just setting it down inside the basket, and then I took a couple of more of these white flowers and I hot glued them to the base so that we have just a little bit of floral spilling over the front. And I am incredibly happy with how this turned out. I think it's beautiful. I think it will look great for Easter, and it will also look great just for all spring and all summer. Thank you so much, the Pixie Dust Housewife, for giving me the inspiration to do this. And then what I did is I also took the mat, this placemat from the Dollar Tree, and just set this basket on top of it to give it a pop of color. So there's the front, and let me take you around and let you show you the back. And here it is from the back. So it looks pretty from every angle. Thanks a lot for joining me while I made this springtime centerpiece from Dollar Tree items. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to hit the little bell so that you will be notified whenever I upload a new video. Thanks a lot for watching, friends, and we'll talk to you later. Bye!